What I do, being crew, it's your boy Stephan Thomas, back with another episode of Coffee and Comments. Today we're going to review the movie If Beale Street Could Talk.
I'll tell you a story.
Welcome back. Again, this is another episode of Coffee and Comments, and we are reviewing the movie If Beale Street Could Talk. I came across this on Netflix. I don't know if it was because of Black History Month or like they've just been promoting more black films, but I was very intrigued by this because I saw Regina in it, and the movie composition, like the music, kind of caught my attention when I was scrolling through. So I decided to give it a try. And honestly, the movie wasn't bad. For me, I would just say it's slow, but it has a great message and a great story. So for those that haven't seen If Beale Street Can Talk, just to kind of go a quick summary, the story tells the story of like this couple, young African-American couple living in Harlem back in the day. I forget the exact year, but early 1900s, I'd say. And just the stuff they had to deal with as far as like living situation, dealing with racism in New York at the time, and just like overcoming some of that situations. But it tells that story and really the story of like the justice system and how police back in that time frame and still today were biased, and they were putting black people in jail for stuff that they didn't commit, just by saying something, accusing this person of this, and that's all they needed to put them in jail, and they were locked up, right? And so the story follows a young girl. Her name's KiKi. She gets pregnant by her boyfriend Fonny, and it tells their love story of like them being friends, to them, the first time being intimate and having sex. It tells the story of their love, like them growing up together and them falling in love. And then it showcases them trying to put together a life in Harlem that they have to overcome a lot of different things. People won't rent to them because they're black. People won't, police are dealing with, doing certain things to them because they live in neighborhoods that they live in. And it's kind of it's a tough watch because you have to go back to like, not to say that this doesn't happen today, but like even then, like back then, like this, I was thinking of the time frame that it was in. I think it was 1950s, if I remember correctly. But this is like my grandparents, like what stuff they had to deal with. So like when I'm watching this, I'm also like, man, this is not that far ago. Like people think that, racism and all these different things is like, one, is dead, which is not, but then two, that even if they do feel like it's gotten better, that all that stuff that happened previously was that far away, and it's really nice. It's literally 2 generations away from me, at least. Like I'm 30, my mom is 50. She was born in 1970. My mom's mom, rest her soul, but she would be 70 something today. And this is stuff that she had to deal with because she was born in the 50s, right? And so it's not that far away. Like it's kind of, so I'm watching this movie, I'm like, man, that's tough. Like everything that they go through, still like knowing your history is very important, right? And just seeing the stuff that they went through. But it tells an important story of like all the black men and women that got incarcerated based off of little lies, like little things that weren't actually true. And as long as there was some type of authority figure backing that, corroborating that story, there's one other thing you could do. And then they would put you in jail, put you in prison, and then force you to serve your time and no appeal process. Like they would just kind of elongate your sentence. Like maybe you went to jail for a certain reason, and then your sentencing time would be this time, but then they keep pushing it back and back and back. So then you go to prison for 2 years or jail for 2 years, and you haven't even had your sentencing yet. Like there's small things that the system still today is corrupt about, but then back then for 100% was corrupt about as well. So it's a very slow movie. Like when you watch it, honestly, it was very, I won't call it boring, but that's kind of what it was. There was some parts where it was pretty interesting, like the family finding out that she's pregnant, and like Regina does a great job as well in her role. You also have Dave Franco randomly in there as well. There's a lot of good actors in this movie, good names that you know, but then also there's some new faces as well that I've never seen before, like the main star, the 2 stars of the movie. Clementine, I said KiKi earlier. Clementine's played by KiKi Layne, the actress. Then you have Fonny, who's played by Stephen James. So you have these 2 actors that I'm not very familiar with, but then also obviously Regina for me really was a draw into watching this movie. But overall, again, I enjoyed it because of the message. But really, the main aspect of it, I love the music composition. Like, I love the score. And it really was just one song, but it was just like, it was so beautiful. Like, the moments when they played the music in the background, like, I was like, man, this is just such a beautiful, like, moment or setting or scene. Like, it was just beautifully composition. Like, the score of the movie was just fantastic. For me, that's really the biggest plus of this movie, and then the message as well is a huge plus as well. It's a very slow movie. It's a love story, so take it how you want it. But I gave this movie a 7.5 out of 10. Right? That's my review of the movie, If Beale Street Could Talk. Thanks for tuning in to the episode of Coffee and Comments.